But you know what? Let's play ball here
Yes.
and dive into a fucking fever dream, a fantasy. Let's say Joseph Biden set down his ice cream, cracked his knuckles, and assumed direct control of the FBI on January 6th and placed all of these agents in here
Yes.
just as Trump says. Well, why don't you do something about it? You are the president. Who are you asking to do something? God? Batman? Like, who are you trying to call? Who are you trying to summon to do
I think that this is so part of this I agree with, part of it I don't agree with. I agree with the sentiment here is that Trump complains about things too much, and I think this is something that the administration does in general. Instead of complaining, you should be acting. Like, instead of complaining about the, governor or the mayor not, like approving, like trying to like actively subvert ICE or stop ICE, why don't you pull them up on the Insurrection Act and arrest them? Do that. That's what I want to see. Charge them for sedition. Because I agree.
Yeah, see, I told you so. Again, this is the priming paying off. Okay, this is the priming being paid off. Okay, none of his audience will no longer care about blatantly heinous shit being suggested because they have been primed. Okay, they have successfully been the slowly cooked frog in the fucking boiling test tube that is slowly being cooked, and now they are fully used to its effects, and they're not affected by it, right? They're just straight up fully embracing the fascism in their hearts, right? I don't care about the law anymore. I don't care about anything. I just want to destroy everything. I just want to arrest who I want, deport who I want, kill who I want, right? He's creating the next generation of Hitler Youth.
Okay? With Charlie, but I think in the opposite direction. No. Yeah, they're not doing enough. Like, if it was up to me, these people would be in fucking jail. And so it's about optics. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Trump won't. Then because the Civil War. Oh, they're not going to have a Civil War. It's going to be over in It'd be over in minutes. Don't even tell them it's going to happen. Do it in one day. And so Trump pardoned them. Well, Trump pardoned some of the January 6 people, and that's complex. But anyway, I think that I do agree with that part. I think that it's very obvious also that whenever you have the government that's like this massive machine, I think this massive machine probably endures and has its own internal politics that sometimes does not align with what the politics of the current administration is. And I think that like probably the most obvious example of this is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is basically like Biden didn't really get the chance to appoint a lot of justices, whereas Trump in his first term did. Trump stacked the court. And because of the fact that Trump stacked the court, that is one apparatus of the government.
Just by the way, a lot of people in DGG even were they were essentially saying, hey, we need to give sympathy to Asmongold for the death of his dad. All right. Oh, we have to appeal to humanity here. We have to appeal to humanity for the death of his dad. Meanwhile, Asmongold is going on to say things like this. Really? Really? Really, optics cucks? Really? This guy?
That is effectively politicized in a way that's beneficial to him. And I think that the same thing is probably also true inside of the CIA. I think that it's true inside of the FBI. I think it's true inside of every apparatus of government, is that there is going to be its own internal politics. And for me to imagine that the FBI or something like that was like completely in lockstep with the president all the time, I mean, just a very cursory look at the JFK files would prove that to not be true. So I think that in general, the deep state is a legitimate problem, but I don't think that Trump has done even remotely enough to undo the deep state effects. You think there were a large number of federal agents January 6th and incited the crowd with the purpose of making Trump look bad while Trump was the president? Come on, man. Well, I don't know whether there were or not. When did I ever say that? I didn't say that. I don't know all the details. I don't know all the evidence. Why would I make a distinction on that whenever I don't know? That's a very
why the hell, like, okay, another thing I'm wondering is, like, why the hell, like, years like years after January 6th, like you're unable to get all the details about January 6th. You could have at least watched a documentary about it. You could have at least like seeing somebody talk about it. Even a conspiracy is better than nothing, in my opinion. But this excuse of, oh, I don't know everything about it at this point, after years after it has happened, when you've been covering this stuff? Really? Really? So my question then becomes, is it that you don't know? Or is it that you don't want to find out?
Specific thing.
Or even worse, you found out, but you didn't like what you found, right?
So yeah, of course.
Something. You are the president. So if this is real, why aren't you doing anything? This is a classic President DJT maneuver here. The entire administration, really, where they're like, all these crimes from the Democrats. All of these.
And I would easily, like, I mean, could I imagine that they had people come in there? Do I think that the FBI has placed agents in areas in order to foment unrest and cause problems? Yes, I think that they have done that. And the reason why I think they've done that is because I think it serves their goals, because it creates a need for themselves. It's the same reason on a fundamental level why websites keep redesigning themselves every 6 months to a year. It's because the design team doesn't want to get fired. So I think that a lot of people try to create a need for themselves inside of their job.
Okay,
and I don't think the FBI is beyond that.
Wow. Ooh.
Why does stupid chatters keep putting words in your mouth? It's so fucking annoying. The reason why is because they're programmed by media and they're programmed by other types of controlled propaganda to behave like robots. It's like a Pavlov conditioning where it's like as soon as one person says one thing.
Whatever Destiny has shown you guys about Asmongold, it doesn't even, like, that's just the tip of the iceberg of how cruel Asmongold is about everything, okay? That's the tip of the iceberg, okay? Asmongold's cruelty and his advocacy for fascism is the entirety of the iceberg, okay? Except for the very top. No, actually, no, including the very top, okay? Destiny hasn't even scratched the surface of how heinous this guy is, okay? He is basically no different from Nick Fuentes, in my opinion. He's probably even worse than Nick Fuentes because he has a larger audience, all right? Asmongold is the new Nick Fuentes, all right?
Then that means that they're saying 5 other...
And his audience are the new Groypers.
things.
Absolutely abhorrent,
That's
vile
the reason why.
crimes that the Democrats have done. No more playing nice. No more Mr. Nice Guy. We're showing our teeth. We're baring our fangs, and we're going to get something done about it.
And they didn't.
And then nothing.
Exactly.
It's all just posturing. It's all...
This. I totally agree with this. I totally agree. I think that he should go absolutely Old Testament scorched earth on them. And the fact that these people aren't in jail, the fact that they're not being charged for treason, sedition, other types of insane fucking...
I like to think that Asmongold was tired of Charlie bashing the Trump administration, because the thing is that most of the time, do you know what happens most of the time? Is that, like, I don't think Asmongold commentates this much most of the time. Like, he's a very, very lazy commentator. He gives, like, almost no commentary on some of these videos. But I think the reason why he's giving so much commentary right now is because he's, like, a little bit triggered by the things that Charlie is saying right now. So therefore, he is, like, basically, like, I think he's getting a little bit agitated. So this is why he's saying some really extreme things right now. But for the record, it doesn't excuse anything that he's saying. But I would like to provide a reasoning why his mask is slipping off more and more as the video progresses, right? Because normally he isn't like this. He really isn't like this normally, okay? But notice when he's watching this, like, Charlie video, like every 5 seconds he's pausing. This is behavior that is reminiscent of Hasan, actually. Why? Because remember, When Hasan commentates on something, he pauses it every 5 seconds in order to insert his own long-winded narrative in order to keep the narrative alive, in order to keep the propaganda alive, right? I believe this is what Asmongold is doing right now. Okay, instead of letting the clip play out on its own, or letting the video play out on its own, I think what's really happening here, and I think the reality of the situation, is that Asmongold knows that Charlie is right, and he can't let Charlie like convince his audience otherwise. So he has to insert his narrative in between every single Charlie sentence, so then his audience gets more of Asmongold and less of Charlie by ratio. I believe that's what's actually going on. Okay.
In crimes, it makes me so fucking mad. I hate
Performative. It is a game, and they are playing you. They are preying upon your gullibility and your propriety.
It may pain me to say this, but even Nick Fuentes doesn't operate on the suffering of other people as much as Asmongold. Asmongold is worse. I actually think I agree. Yeah, because now that I think about it, I think Asmongold makes cruelty the entire point. I think Nick Fuentes also is like the kind of cruelty is the point kind of person, but Asmongold is far more blatant about it. Yeah.
Your inclination to be afraid, to constantly keep you in fear, because when you are afraid and when you are convinced that the other side is doing all of these things to get you, you are so fucking easy to control. You're so malleable. That's why
I think this is something that's not, again, you know, how many times have we heard that Trump is a fascist, threat to democracy, he stole the election, Russia interference? I think this is the modus operandi to almost all mainstream media and also almost all media in general. That's why people use clickbait. That's why people talk about extreme issues. It's because it's something that is, it's enticing to people. People want to be, the best thing that can happen for a media company is a tragedy, because a tragedy allows everybody to talk about the issue. And now people are tuning into the news because everybody wants to know what's going to happen next. So I think that really the people that truly benefit off of any sort of tragedy or any sort of civil unrest or anything like that are the media in general. I benefit from that.
Yeah, true. Why is it like again, the hypocrisy is the point as well, right? Because he has turned something, like, hypocrisy is something that is normally seen as one of the worst things. Like, hypocrites are seen as the worst kind of people. But the thing is that Asmongold has turned something that is normally seen as one of the worst things and turned it into something that is positive for his audience. I find that very scary. I find that very scary. The reason for that is now you can justify murder, you can justify rape, you can justify whatever. For example, you can blame other people for being rapists, but if you rape somebody yourself, that's based in epic. See that? Because when it comes to yourself, oh, it's morally right. But when it comes to other people, it's morally wrong. And not only are you cognizant of it, but you're openly celebrating that, right? Remember,
like when something really bad happens,
this is genocidal language. Genocidal language, okay? Genocidal.
My channel viewership goes up and I make more money. That's the case with Hasan, with Charlie. If something bad happens, like a big crypto scam happens and Charlie covers it, or, you know, a video game fails in a spectacular way like Concord fails, Charlie covers it, he makes money. So there is a parasitic relationship that media has on events like this. And I think that mainstream media, that parasitic relationship has been escalated to the point to where they actually try to propagate and continue these negative events and these problematic things and this fearful thinking because it's beneficial for them. I think Fox does this. I think MSNBC does it. I think CNN does it. I think that they're all guilty. And even smaller places like the Young Turks or like InfoWars do it. It's true. Trump started it, bro. Come on. You think Trump started the idea of media hysteria? I don't think that's true.
They're playing that shit in the airport.
Here's a great example of what I'm talking about. Do you remember the Ocean Gate thing? Whenever those guys went down to see the Titanic? After it was obviously revealed that everybody died and the death was so instantaneous they didn't even know what happened. It was revealed later on that remember like the countdown for like when they're going to run out of oxygen and everything like that? A lot of these news stations were running this countdown and doing all of this, knowing full well that 99% chance it had already imploded and the people had been dead for hours, if not days at that point. So how is it that that happens?
What do you mean? You literally do the same thing. Like, you literally do the same thing. How could you possibly, like, try to appeal to people's sympathies and empathies for your father, but then at the same time celebrating ripping families apart? You do the same thing. You're no different. You're worse. Even regular journalism and regular media companies have FCC laws, and they have journalistic ethics that they teach all the time. But you're unhinged. You have no journalistic integrity. You have nobody there to double check you. You have no rules that you live by, right? There is way less oversight for you, by far. What is this autistic game? It's a BattleTech mod, a Rogue Tech.
Was that Trump? No, it had nothing to do with Trump. It had nothing to do with politics. I think that's a great example of what I'm talking about in the least politically motivated situation I can think of. Trump does not own the idea of escalating emotional media. This has been a problem before Trump. It's been a problem after Trump. It will be a problem after Trump.
Same-washing.
That's it. They're milking it for content. Yes. Why would Israel do this? Exactly.
Now about how like the Democrats are Satan and all of that.
Yes.
If you have all of this overwhelming evidence that you claim to have about all of these crimes and all of this shit that the Democrats have done, why have you done nothing?
Exactly. Yes. True.
Would be just as guilty in that case.
Yes.
You know, what is the quote? The only thing it takes for evil.
Like, just by the way, okay, remember, you could say the same thing, but depending on where it comes from, and if the context is different, it can mean entirely different things, okay? Like, oh, why haven't the Republicans done something, right, about the Democrats? Well, here's the thing, all right? Charlie is saying it because he wants to point out the hypocrisy and the cowardice of the Republican Party. Asmongold agrees with him, not because of the same reasons, but because he actually wants the Republicans to go full fascistic and begin the coup immediately today. That is the difference. They could say the same things, okay? They are saying the same things, but the meaning behind the same words are entirely different. This is why words have no meaning unless you can intuit additional context from it. Okay?
To succeed is for good men to do nothing. Well,
yeah.
if you know that all of this evil is happening from the Democrats and you're doing nothing,
Exactly.
you're just as guilty. Like this
Absolutely. Completely fucking agree with this. Yes.
is so clearly obvious to anyone that's thinking for more than 5 fucking seconds. And you don't even need to be thinking for 5 seconds to see this new Truth Social stinker here that he squeaked out as anything other than just a sham. Like, this should just be alarming into the mental decline of Trump. He was president on January 6th. He controlled the FBI, not Biden. Biden was probably out riding his bike to a fucking twisty treat. I don't think he was down there as the puppet master pulling the strings, putting FBI agents in January 6th. It is so crazy, and yet people will just swallow it. They will swallow.
Asmongold hears, this is why we need to kill them. Charlie is saying this proves Trump is full of shit. Correct. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Any shit that Trump feeds them happily, even when they know it's something bad. Like Ted Cruz saying that he got into Congress 13 years ago solely to represent the interests of Israel.
Yeah, I knew it.
He is an American politician who openly states that he is here for Israel.
I really agree with this point too. I definitely do. This is a huge problem. I really
Just so you guys know, okay, Ted Cruz isn't exactly a popular figure in the Republican Party either, okay? I don't believe he is. Like, he's not really a celebrated person in the Republican Party because he was also a previous target of Trump, and the only way that he could prevent Trump from attacking him or his family or his wife is by falling in line like a fucking coward, okay? So the thing is that I think that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, okay?
really don't like the fact, like, I find it to be very weird that, at least in my perspective, if somebody had said this about a number of other countries, I think that very easily everybody would agree that this person is a traitor. But for whatever reason, Israel is seen as this great moral good because of the Bible. I think it's because of religion. That's the reason why. And people are also, the reason why Israel is seen as a great moral good, there's two big reasons. Number one is religion, and number two is people.
Yeah, his favorability, unfavorability rating is about the same. Yeah, it's both at about 45%. So it's like 50-50, basically, in his own fucking state. This is in his own fucking state. Wait, Republican identification. Favorable is 76%. Okay, never mind. No, he's well-liked. It's fucking cooked. We're cooked, guys. Guys, we're cooked. We're cooked. Never mind. He is well-liked.
People don't want to be seen as anti-Semitic because there's perceived a original sin of Europeans because of Hitler. I think that's what's happened. And the Holocaust, which was horrible. So I think that's really the reason why people are afraid.
You say it's horrible, but you don't learn from history. In fact, if anything, you're taking notes from the Nazi Party.
Of criticizing Israel,
okay,
is that you have a lot of people that are criticizing Jews, and they do it under the guise of criticizing Israel. Like, oh, I just hate Zionism. Well, who's Zionism? Everybody who's a Jew.
Oh, sorry, no. My bad. Asmongold does learn from history. Technically.
But I also think at the opposite spectrum, and this is the point that he's bringing up, and I think this is what's much more common from like mainstream news apparatuses, is that whenever you have people that are talking about Israel and criticizing Israel, they're accused of being anti-Semitic, like they hate all Jews because they don't like what Israel is doing. And I think that this intentional obfuscation and misrepresentation from both sides is really just two sides of the same coin. And that coin is not American currency. That's the fact. That is not American currency. The truth is that we should not be dealing with this at all. Israel is a foreign nation. It's a foreign country.
Yeah, he's taking
and the
notes on what
amount
to do.
of influence that they have over American politics should be it's degrading. Honestly, more than anything, it's degrading.
That, again, like I said, feels treasonous to me. And
I agree with him. Yes, I think that's true.
Imagine most people in a different time.
So Ilhan Ilmar can say she's working for Somalia first, and Charlie says nothing. But if it's said for Israel and Ted Cruz, it becomes a problem. Explain the difference. So I think that's the reason why probably Charlie's getting a lot of negative feedback from this video. And obviously, I'm sure a lot of people agree with it.
Negative feedback? How? Can you show? Here's the thing, okay? If you want to show that he's getting negative feedback, just show his like-dislike proportion. His like-dislike bar. All right? I want to see that. I want to see that bar. Okay? I want to see that bar. Because unless you can show me that... Because here's the thing. Why is it that Asmongold, who loves to show off the bar, who loves to show off the like-dislike bar, in every single controversy... Okay, who knows? He might show it. We'll see.
And I think that a lot of the points that he's bringing up are valid. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I think that this is the same issue that, for example, South Park had, is that because South Park didn't do any politics for 4 years, and Charlie very rarely makes comments and forays into politics, but whenever he does, obviously, people will take note of it. And because, basically South Park didn't spend 4 years making fun of Joe Biden, then whenever they decide to come back just to make fun of Trump, it seems like this is partisan and opportunistic. And whenever people see somebody who they want to be a objective source for information, or they want to understand as being unbiased, or at least having a generally like an even-handed perspective of things, and then this person's really only criticizing groups that are doing it that they disagree with necessarily, it comes off the wrong way. Because I completely agree. Ilhan Omar saying that she's working in the best interests of Somalia, I think that's a great reason to never elect her. I think that if you run for office in America, you should have to renounce citizenship to every other country in the world. If you have Israeli citizenship, you should not be able to hold office here in America, even for being on city fucking council. Okay? This is a ridiculous.
It's fucking citizenship. That's all it is. Okay? Like, I'm pretty sure I have never heard of anything like this before, but okay. I mean, we can pretend that this is a base policy or something, but I'm just saying, okay, if somebody truly loves this country, if somebody truly didn't like this country, they wouldn't have ran for office in the first place, okay? The only reason why anybody would ever run for office is because they fucking love this country. That's why. No matter where they came from, they love this country.
Thing that we're even thinking about. Advocating for the best interests of Somalia.
Yes,
what
even
the fuck are we talking
Omar.
about?
Even
I don't
Ilhan
view there
Omar.
is. I mean, to be honest, Israel I think is much more of an existential problem because they're much more powerful than Somalia is. Obviously, right? They're more influential. They have more money. They have more military, etc. So it would make sense that Israel would be seen as more of an issue. But you're right. Whenever Charlie doesn't make a video and talk about that, and he's only focusing on Ted Cruz and his adherence to Israel, I think that it does come off as one-sided.
Yeah, because this video is meant to be one-sided. That's the entire point of Charlie's video. He wants to be clear, without the shadow of a doubt, to be one-sided, right? But also, I hate the fact that Charlie did not make this video before the election. I hate the fact that now that everything has already come and gone, now that we're in this state and we're stuck with Trump, now he has chosen to dip his toes into politics. That is frustrating to me, but it is what it is. You can't really change reality, right?
That's definitely true. Somalia is irrelevant in U.S. politics? Well, if it's so irrelevant in U.S. politics, then why are politicians in the United States trying to say that they're advocating for its best interests? Like, and I agree with you, but I think that the fact that I agree with you, like, I mean, both of these things are true at the same time.
Period would feel the same, but because of how tribalistic politics has become, if you're a big MAGA enthusiast, Trump supporter, you have to somehow just hand wave that and support it because that's what you're told you need to do.
I don't think that. I think this.
Can you just use that logic and say it's just citizenship, then it's easy to drop it? No. What the fuck? No. No. You shouldn't ever drop something because it's a concern troll from a Republican, right? I'm not saying the Republicans are saying it right now. I'm saying that it is specifically Asmongold that's saying it right now. He's a concern troll. He doesn't give a fuck about any of this. They're American citizens. They're literal American patriots born and raised in the United States who are more traitorous than anyone with the dual citizenship, period. Right? Trump is one such prime example. Everyone in his cabinet are also prime examples. People who are born and raised in America and are yet the most traitorous motherfuckers this country has ever seen. The migrant crime rates aren't even as high as the White House crime rates. Never fall for a concern troll like this.
Specific example isn't really accurate. If you look at a lot of people's criticism, I think that one of the main points of contention with a lot of right-wing people is the unwavering support of Israel. And also, if anybody had elected Trump, if you had voted for Trump thinking that he wasn't going to help Israel and work in Israel's best interest, you played yourself. For every one clip that you can find of Trump criticizing Israel over the last 40 years, you can find 100 clips of Trump praising Israel over the last 40 years. The fact is that Trump has always been pro-Israel. Kamala Harris was pro-Israel. Joe Biden was pro-Israel. Unfortunately, for the American public right now, this is not an issue that we can vote on. And I know I hate to say that, and I think that's unfair, but that's the reality. Trump was supporting.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely an issue. You can vote on any issue. But the thing is that people don't actually care about Israel versus Palestine enough to vote based off of that issue. Not everybody is a Taliban. Okay? Yeah.
Israel right from the beginning, and he always has. Anybody who thought that this wasn't what was going to happen was lying to themselves.
Even though anyone should be able to hear that and be concerned. Why does Israel have such a huge stranglehold on the American political landscape and
Great
such
question.
a massive say-so in how American companies do their business? And why do they even have like the ability to start making demands about what needs to be censored in regards to their atrocities?
100%. I completely agree. And I think most people, this is the thing, is that I think a lot of right-wing MAGA people do agree with that. And I think it's one of the biggest points of contention between them and Trump.
You know what? You know what makes Asmongold worse than? You know what makes Asmongold worse than Nick Fuentes? Asmongold doesn't define himself as somebody like Nick Fuentes. That's what makes him worse. Because he just says he's just a gamer. He's just a casual. He's just a little guy. How could he do so much wrong? He's just a guy. He's just a sweet little guy, right? He's just a gamer memester, right?
On American platforms,
he can't do anything wrong.
It would be alarming.
But I think also like it's important to keep in mind that AIPAC, that's the one of the Israeli political action committees.
Wow,
they help. They're involved with everybody. It's not like they're only pro-Republican. Like they're also giving money to Democrats too. These are both sides are playing for the same team.
If
wow, nice, amazing. We horseshoe theoried all the way back to leftist conspiracy theories.
The political sphere wasn't just I have to support everything from this side no matter what.
Yeah.
It is fucking scary. Now, I do want to make a mention of something. It's not all horrible, awful news. There's actually a ceasefire going on right now.
Which is good.
And I can only pray that it sticks. With Netanyahu, you never really fucking know. But I can only keep my fingers
Hamas, you also never know. I mean, they are terrorists. I mean, he's totally right.
crossed and pray for the absolute best for the Palestinians. And hope
of course.
that going forward, the people of Gaza will no longer need to fear being massacred by Netanyahu's IDF. Now, I know I said at the beginning of the video, the focus of this was going to be on the crypto collapse and the super lucky guy that happened to make $190 million going against all rational thinking and against all the odds. Truly a miracle.
And I think that's give Trump some credit. Well, Trump did play a very big role in it. I think Trump did something that was very smart, is that he engaged nearly every single Middle Eastern country involved in order to all give them collective ownership and collective failure if it doesn't go well. And I think that was probably the smartest thing that he did with this entire event, is engage so many of them at the same time. But
Asmongold, this is like, just by the way, everything Asmongold is like, the way that he is reacting here is everything I have kind of expected from him to react is, right? Like he is reacting in the same way I would have expected him to react, right? With cowardice, right? Because if Asmongold really did believe in his convictions, I feel like he would be bashing Charlie pretty hard, okay? But it's very clear to me during this entire thing, hopefully, with anybody who is not blind, that Asmongold obviously is trying to be careful with somebody like Most Critical, right?
Yeah, and I do think that and this is another thing, right, is that whenever you engage in political topics like this, it is going to seem very problematic to people when you're talking about how bad Israel is, whenever there's also Hamas as well. Hamas is advocating for Palestinians, but they're also killing Palestinians. They kill people that protest against them. And so, like, whenever you see that and there's no discussion and no conversation about Hamas being problematic, Palestine is being oppressed by two groups of people, by Israelis and also by Hamas.
He is correct, But I don't want to give Asmongold any of the credit for being correct because he probably got this from Fox News, right? Like he probably heard some kind of like alternative news source segment or something like that who is passionate about Israel versus Palestine, and they are bringing up the fact that Hamas is in fact also being evil towards like Palestinians as well, right? But the thing is that I'm not going to give him credit for just being up to date on conservative propaganda networks, right? Who are also repeating the same talking points, or any neo-Nazis that he may potentially follow, or any kind of far right-leaning person that he potentially follows who hates Israel, right? Obviously, he's going to get talking points about how bad Hamas is, or what Hamas does, or how good Israel is, or how bad Israel is, right? Yeah.
And it shouldn't. Neither one of them should be there.
He doesn't deserve the credit, but yeah.
Myself, this is just so preposterous. But now let's finally dive into the crypto collapse. CoffeeZilla made a video going over this. It's extremely well put together, so I'm going to be showing you some.
Okay, I don't know if I want to cover the crypto collapse. Yeah,
I guess as we talk about it.
I don't even know what this is. I think this is all legal, kind of. I don't think it should be, as you'll see.
Yeah, they should change the rules.
Thing is, even if it wasn't legal,
it's wrong.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, it's
there
still
will be
bad.
No justice pursued regardless, because I think it's
a good point. Yeah,
pretty clear that whoever this is, they are part of Trump's inner circle of cronies, and they had this knowledge beforehand what was coming.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a genius to recognize that imposing these huge tariffs on China was going to have a huge effect.
Hamas unalives people protesting. Aren't they just following Asmon's principles? No, Asmon's principles is also being a hypocrite. So, well, you know, when other people kill others for protesting, that's not okay. But when Asmongold kills people for protesting or arrests them for protesting, that's okay. That's hypocritical, but it's moral to be hypocritical, all right? Which means that there is no principles whatsoever and nothing means anything, all right? Because it's a dog-eat-dog world, and there is no hope for anyone except for death. All right.
But, on the market. So it was a pretty easy opportunity for them to short with that knowledge in mind and make an unbelievable amount of money. Again, if it is legal, it shouldn't be, like CoffeeZilla says.
Yes.
But even if it isn't legal, it won't matter because they're not going to do anything about it.
But the question is, what did this guy know? Okay, how did somebody make $190 million while everyone else was losing their shirts yesterday? If you don't know, there was one of the biggest crashes.
There's a guy that killed himself over this, in fact. Over the crash. It was that bad. There are people calling for this exact drop, and example, Ben Cowan, it's a bullshit argument. I think that, I mean, like, really, do you really think that nobody... Do you really think that, like, they're not doing like weird insider trading things? Because I think that they are. I don't think this is a Trump exclusive thing, but I think it is happening. Absolutely, I think it's happening.
Ever seen in crypto. And
Excuse lost millions of dollars. He loses that every day when he does
someone
stocks.
came in 24 hours before and started placing shorts against the market.
Yeah, you don't have to defend this. Like, this is obviously bad. I mean, there's no reason you have to. Like, this is the issue that I'm saying is, like, you don't have to defend bad stuff. Like, this is obviously a bad decision that they made. This is a Trump exclusive video? Yeah, but this isn't a Trump exclusive react. Like, I'm watching this, I'm talking about it. You can disagree with the video, but don't disagree with me. I feel like I'm looking at this pretty fairly.
Just when you bet that the underlying asset is going to go down in price and you will make money on that. Now, this all started October 9th at 1639 GMT time. They start accumulating this Bitcoin short.
So T-minus 24 hours until the rest of the world knows this information about the impending tariffs.
Yes.
They come in.
He limits himself to 200K a day. That's money that could have went to anybody else, including me.
With $80 million that they start shorting Bitcoin.
Okay, I think I'm done. Yeah, that's just great. Hopefully I won't cover another Asmongold video for a long ass time, okay? Because every single time I cover an Asmongold video, I have never felt more black-pilled about the current state of affairs, okay? No, I do not care that right now there are more than 300 people watching me, okay, when I cover Asmongold, okay? Okay, maybe I care a little bit. But the thing is this guy is like one of the most blackpilling people I ever cover, period. It is heinous how depressing this guy is. And we didn't even get to cover J-Stock today, which is good, okay? Because he's also... actually, no, it's fun to fucking laugh at J-Stock. But... this guy is depressing. Don't believe anything. Like, I feel like you can only call them hypocrites so many times before it gets tiring as well. How's your mental? Horrible. Okay. All right, I gotta go edit. I love you guys. Join my Discord server, discord.gg/foodshops. There's always some stupid drama going down, okay? So be entertained. That's what I do, at the very least.